This demo is in regards to carving your block, some tips and some vocabulary for you. I do want to check and think about the size of the gouge blade in relationship to the area that I want to cut. If I have a lot of white space to take out, like this area, I'm going to want a bigger blade. This is a 5 blade. Numbers are on the back of the blade. If I have some very fine, small work to do, like in these sections, I might want a 1 blade. Using a carving tool is a little bit tricky. Often I see students flipping the tool backwards and sticking their elbow out and twisting their wrist. You will have the best control if you hold these tools like a hammer. Think about pounding a nail in the wall. You would pound that hammer this direction. You wouldn't hold it upside down and try to pound that hammer in. As you're going to find your cuts, I recommend starting in a place that's very open, a big, wide space, just so you get used to the media and the materials and the tools, okay? I also recommend to students to put their block on a scrap sheet of paper. This will help with cleanup and it helps you rotate your block. Have your design in front of you as you're carving. Often students forget what they're doing and start to take out an area that they didn't mean to. Remember, there is no going back and fixing it. So let's say I'm going to cut out one of these stripes in here. I'm going to push the blade slightly down and I'm going to wiggle it. I'm then going to just barely cut into the surface and run the tool along the line or area I wish to take out. As I have these little pieces left over, I can just gently lay them on my sheet of paper next to the block. Okay? So again, my hand is in a straight line, forearm to wrist to tip of finger. I'm going to gently rock into the material, just barely let the blade go through, and then I'm going to find that edge I wish to take out and make my cut. As I lift up at the end of the line, then I can take my material out. If I have little tiny areas like this, again, I'm going to use a smaller blade. I am going to also, instead of swinging my arm around, I'm going to rotate the block while the blade is down into the surface. That's going to let me cut that curved piece right there. I want that a little bit bigger, so I'm going to make a second cut, pretty much doing the same thing. Okay? If I have a little dot or a small circle, I'm going to also use that same method where I just gently go into the surface, spin my block around, and I will have a very tiny, tiny dot right there. So I'm going to go into the surface, spin the block a whole 360 and maybe a little extra, and then pull that out. Okay? The tricky part, I think, for some students is thinking about whatever is cut on the surface will print. This area, as small as it is going to print. This little line right here is going to print. I don't need to dig a hole deep down into the surface of the block. By going really deep, all I'm doing is slowly and slowly taking away the stability and support that this thickness offers me and reducing that. Keep in mind in your reduction print, you're going to start taking your lightest area out first. For me, that's the white. After I've carved all of those white areas out, I'm going to go and print in the red. Then I'm going to bring this design back. I'm going to repeat the transfer process, making sure that I have all of the red areas marked on the back with a 4B pencil. I'm going to line it up onto the block, set that down, flip it over, tape it, use my ballpoint pen to make sure I've transferred off all of those red areas. Then I'm going to come back to the block. I'm going to carve the red areas out, and then I'm going to print it in black. That's a 3 reduction print. I'm printing it twice, carving it twice, but it's going to give me the illusion of 3 colors. I hope you enjoy this printmaking project.